Welcome to the Chalkboard Menu. I'm your host, Patricia Borgard. Come with me on a culinary adventure where we start out on a farm seeing where your food really comes from. We follow it into the hands of a professional chef in a restaurant kitchen, and then we take it home to play. And along the way, we're going to stop and visit with somebody making some terrific community change. We're on Bainbridge Island, Washington at Butler Green Farms with farmer Brian McWhorter. And Brian, tell me what we've got going today.
Well, hi, welcome to the farm. Well, today we're going to pick some really sweet bunch beets ready for the table.
Excellent.
Okay?
How long have you been farming on the island?
This is my 30th year on Bainbridge, my 40th year altogether. Typically what we do is we'll go down the row and we'll look for the bigger beets.
Show me what it looks like when we decide we're going to pull one up out of the ground then.
I look for a beet that's crowning like this, and I can see the beet there, I can see the size, whereas this one, I can't see that, so it's not really ready.
Okay.
So I'm taking this one. Comes out of the ground's good moisture right now, so it doesn't have a lot of wet on it, so it just cleans up pretty nice. We'll spray this down, remove some of the stuff, and we'll bunch it in a bunch like that. And this would be like when we sell a bunch of beets at the market. There's 4 of these, and we'll bunch these together. This variety is Red Ace. What I like about it is these are really nice sweet beets, but the tops are really nice and green for people that like to have their greens. There you go.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Now on these, the greens, the stems, the beets, those are all edible portions.
Everything is edible. I have people that just take them and juice the whole thing, just run the whole thing through the juice. I mean, you could cut them here, use the greens and saute, whatever, and then have your beets or whatever you like to have your beets.
And you grow other varieties of beets too, yeah?
I do. And I have the yellow, right now we only have these that are ready, but we walked through over there and we saw the gold touchstone, and then I have the Italian beets, and I have a Bulldor, which is more of a faller beet.
When you're starting these, are you starting from seed or are you buying in little sprouts?
Yeah, this was done in seed right here, but in the greenhouses for the early season, we do start them and transplant them. But for these, basically it's all field planted. We start, our beets go in February. Actually, we start harvesting in February. I'll put them in probably December. So from February through December, we have beets.
So almost all year long?
Almost all year round.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a really nice crop. And early in the season, you can't have enough beets. People just, there's early crop, everybody wants their fresh vegetables, and they gather them up real quick. Can't have enough of them.
Is there a difference in the flavor, in the size, where, I mean, you got a pretty sizable chunk
this
there?
Is a nice solid beet. No, there's one thing about this variety, Red Ace, that they stay real constant. They don't get woody or anything. So it really doesn't matter size. So the chefs that really know it, they'll get the bigger ones so they get more for their buck, the smaller one. But the public generally wants small beets. For some reason, they think the small is going to be more tender. Not necessarily the case.
Tell me what's a challenge about farming here on Bainbridge?
The challenge on Bainbridge Island is, well, we don't have much farmland. It's little plots that from here over there, and so I lease about 5 different places, so I have to move around and stuff. But I tell the crew, it's just like having a really big farm. We just go from one farm to the other. But the challenges, most of them are good. Most of the things are good because we have the market, we have the city near us, Bainbridge Island, we have a public that's willing to spend money for food, and we have the maritime weather here. We have a very constant season throughout the year. I mean, it's one of the best places in the world to grow because we have the rainforest and we're surrounded by mountains and we're an island, so we have water around us that keeps the temperature pretty constant.
And tell me a little bit about the education work you're doing here on the island.
We teamed up with Educulture, who on the island here, John Garfunkel. We bring kids preschool through high school to the field so that they can grow some crops, harvest some crops, see where food comes from, and take it back and prepare it in their classroom.
And you're doing all organics on your farms?
Certified organic. I've been certified organic for 38 years. We always were organic. It was only in the last 40 years that we became commercial. So basically we're just getting back to where it was before, and that's just using what we have on the land. So our fertilizers, things we get from our animals and cover crops and stuff. And we're doing good companion planting and taking care of our crops, keep them healthy and fighting off the bugs.
And what exactly is companion planting?
Well, planting different species and stuff so that we have habitat for different bugs and birds and all that kind of stuff. So the whole ecosystem's going on here and protecting us from predation on some crazy bug outbreak.
Brian, thank you so much for the time today.
Well, thank you for coming out.
It's been great learning about beets.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to head into downtown Winslow on Bainbridge Island to Restaurant Marche and see what kind of fabulous dish Chef Greg Atkinson is going to make for us with these beets.
So we're going to roast the beets themselves, and then we're going to frizzle the greens and serve the roasted beets with the frizzled greens together as a side dish. The initial step is really simply boiling them. And because beets are very earthy and they have a lot of what I think of as base notes in terms of flavor, I like to kind of balance that with some bright aromatics. So I usually get a little orange zest, some coriander, and some pepper. Once the beets are cooked, I like to get them out of the cooking liquid and onto some ice. I just want to halt that cooking. So I just want to get the beets cooled down in the ice just enough to handle, and that only really takes a few seconds. I simply squeeze it, and then both the skin and the top comes right off. So I'll take these back up to the cutting board and show you how we get those nice little batons. You'll see how there's that beautiful pattern in there. I love to retain a little bit of that, even though I'm cutting them up. Get a few planks cut vertically down the beet, and then lie those planks cut side down on the board so you can easily cut those straight lines for your batons. To make them hot and ready for service for our a la carte beet dish, I put a little clarified butter on a sizzle platter. I like the heat retention of this cast iron. You could use a cast iron skillet if you wanted for this. And again, about a beet's worth of these slices with a little salt, a little pepper, just the clarified butter, salt, and pepper. And now this will roast for about 6 to 8 minutes. Once these have been in here for a few minutes, Patricia, they'll start to crisp up just a little. We'll see just the beginnings of caramelization on there. And to enhance that and increase that little bit of enhanced caramelization on the edges, I'm just going to pop it right under the salamander or broiler. And what I want to do now is capture that moment right where they're all bubbly and crispy. We got a lot of nice crispness on the surface, and we're still going to have that beautiful tenderness inside. A chiffonade is the cut that I use to get these beet greens ready to frizzle. I think of it sort of as like rolling up a little cigar of the leaves first. Achieve the little ribbons simply by cutting across that cigar. Rice bran oil is my preferred frying oil for most things. But when it's a finishing garnish like this, I think the extra virgin olive oil is best. I think most of us in childhood are sort of horrified by the intensity of beets. They're just so strong, you know, there's like this,
And those smaller batches also give you more control as you're going, yes?
Absolutely. Crowding is the enemy of crispness. If I were to pile a whole bunch of beet greens in that small amount of oil, we really would have sort of a saute. They would just wilt. The end result here should be kind of dry, crispy, stable at room temperature. And then we're going to finish them with this frizzled beet green. Just like that. And I think just to give it a final burst, I'm going to put a tiny bit of finishing salt over those crispy greens. I think it's a good expression of the beet.
Mm-hmm. In all its beauty.
Voila.
Oh, I can't wait to try this.
I hope they're as good as they look.
They look gorgeous. The texture is just beautiful. They just melt in your mouth and you get that little bit of crunch from the greens. It's not overly earthy. It really shows off the sweetness of what those beets are all about. That is lovely. I don't think I can top that, but we're going to take some beets home and play with them in the kitchen. I'm here at Greenwood Park Pea Patch with Kellie Stickney. Kellie, you're part of a fabulous program called Backyard Barter. Tell me what that is.
We're a community organization that gets people together to share food, share knowledge about food every month, and barter food. So I trade my extra carrots for your extra kale.
How'd you come up with the name?
It's pretty simple. People grow things in their backyard. Often around here, we all have extra kale or extra carrots. And if you barter them, then we all have a bigger bounty. So, backyard barter.
Do you have a set system for how that goes? Do you price out my carrots are worth this many kales? How's that happen?
So the way it works is that folks show up at a designated time. The first hour of the barter is a shopping period where no one actually trades, but you walk around, meet people, and see what's available. And then we announce the barter starts, and there's a flurry, and people run around and trade things and figure out between themselves what the value of things are.
But no cash.
No cash allowed at all.
And it works out? Everybody is happy with what they get in the end?
Yeah, I'm always amazed. People are so proud of what they make and grow that often when they come to the first event, they don't bring a lot because they're nervous that their prized possession isn't going to get what it's worth. And then always at the end of their first event, they say, "Oh, I wish I would have brought more. Next time I'm going to bring this and this and this and this." And yeah, everyone's a winner.
And what are the limitations on what people can bring for these events?
We really focus on homegrown and homemade food.
So somebody can be making bread or kombucha or juices.
Absolutely, or cider, or they can have the extra lavender from their garden, or sometimes folks can also trade skills. So people can trade I will water your garden for a week while you're on vacation in exchange for jam or cooking lessons or things like that.
How long has this been going?
About 3 years now.
And you did start with some funding.
Yeah, we started with funding from the Seattle Department of Neighborhood's matching grants. And we've been funded a few times through that same program since then.
If you wanted to give advice to somebody about starting their own backyard barter program, what would you tell them?
I'd say it's really, really, really easy. The most important thing to do is, make sure publicize your events, connect with groups that already exist, and having a format really helps make the process better. I'd say our 2-hour formula is actually really important.
All right. Kellie, thank you so much for the time today. And remember to check their website if you've got questions of your own to pass them along at backyardbarter.org.
Thank you.
Welcome into my kitchen. We brought home our beautiful red ace beets from Brian at Butler Green Farms on Bainbridge Island. And today we're going to make a quick pickled beet recipe. This is fabulous when you've got a barbecue going on. If you can make these just a few hours ahead of time, or even better, overnight, they make a great side or a topping for burgers. And all I did to start with was a quick microwave steam. I took off the greens. I'm going to use those for a salad later, so I saved all of those. I took our base part, just gave it a quick peel. It actually peels really easily with a regular vegetable peeler. Got 2 tablespoons of water and right into the microwave to steam. I gave that 8 minutes. Should be really tender and all ready to go. Look at how beautiful that is inside. Got all that marbling. Really tender, slices up so nicely. And if you want to use it as a topping for your burgers, make really thin slices. If you want to use it more as a side dish, all on its own, just go ahead and use a thicker slice. You could even do this in cubes. There are no rules. We've got a side dish here. Oh, those are hot. All right, just gonna layer my beets inside. And along with those, just gonna add some sliced onion. Just a nice slice it in half, and then thin slice all the way down. It almost comes out like a pickled relish, but you're gonna have that beautiful earthy, sweet character that we get from the beets. Just layering our onions right up on top. So that's what we've got so far. Got beets and onions. And to that, I'm going to add our quick pickling liquid. What I've got is equal parts of water, white vinegar, and I chose to use granulated sugar and a raw sugar. Raw sugar has a little bit more of a molasses, little earthy flavor of itself too. For me, that's a nicer mix with the beets. I've got some allspice, little grains of mustard seed, and some whole cloves. All that is in there together. And it doesn't take very long. You're just looking for that sugar to liquefy in and blend in, and we're gonna pour that right over our veggies. Just like that. You're gonna make sure and get all those spices down there. You can already see how the beet juice is blending in. What it's gonna do is stain all of those onions, that beautiful red color. 4 hours really gives you that best blend of flavors, but if you can go for overnight, that's fabulous. At the end, what you got is pickled relish. Put those slices right on a burger with maybe a little goat cheese, and you are ready to go. Today we're gonna make a really quick, easy, raw grated vegetable salad. We're gonna get our beet peeled up. They actually peel really easily. Just use a regular vegetable peeler, and you can see how beautiful they are inside. They've got that marbling in their flesh, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And we are peeled. So I've got my large hole grater. Put right into the bowl, just like that. All right, you get the idea. So we're gonna call that good. We've got our grated beets all ready to go. Fabulous color. Those are just intense and gorgeous. Right here, I've got my greens. And what I've done is made a little roll out of those. Just grab a couple different leaves. And you're just gonna roll those up like that. I'm not gonna use the stems for this, but I'm gonna hang on to those. So those are my greens ready to go. I already grated up some carrots. I'm gonna put those in with my beets here. And about equal amounts on your carrots and your beets. I'm gonna add a little touch of our ribboned greens. Bright bit of color in there, and then they still have that gorgeous red right along the stem line. And then I'm gonna make up a vinaigrette, which is about equal parts on some fresh honey, balsamic vinegar, some extra virgin olive oil, a little touch of just some fresh parsley that I've already chopped up. Very fine, little fresh bit of that. A little bit of fresh ground pepper and some smoked finishing salt. You can see there's just a much bigger texture on that, and a nice smoky flavor, and they're not as intensely salty. I'm gonna put in a little bit of fresh garlic. Easiest way to get your garlics peeled. Lay it on your cutting board, flat of your knife and heel of your hand. Pop that right down, and those skins just come right off. If you have any little green bits, pull those out. They get really bitter. You don't want to use those. And we're going to do a really fine mince on that. And that's going in to our vinaigrette. Give that a nice toss. Last thing I'm going to add in there is some Dijon mustard. Again, about a tablespoonful. Just so long as they're close to equal portions. Don't have to be exact with this. So you've got a really nice consistency there. And I'm going to put that right on top of our fresh grated beets, carrots, and beet greens. Give that a quick toss. And that's how long it takes to make a fresh raw salad, bursting with flavor, with color. Look at all those gorgeous colors in there. You have a fabulous side dish to go with whatever you want to put that with. Don't be afraid to grab those things you see at the farmer's market. Cooking local is fun and it's easy. I'm your host, Patricia Borgart. Join me next time on the Chalkboard Menu.